Well, hello, David.
Hey, good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you? Oh my
Oh,
gosh, I love the background. Fantastic.
this actually was a joke thing. I can change it if you want, but on my advisory group last week, I got this like bruise on my abdomen, and I showed them to the group, and they were making fun of me like, "Oh, never been flashed on this before," so I decided to show them the full David.
Okay, hang on a second. I'm getting some feedback here. Um, can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah, loud and clear.
Okay, awesome. Okay, yeah, it's in the live stream apparently then. So, okay, well, I want to get started on time. Thank you so much for all of you guys being here. As you notice that this is being recorded, so just want to be mindful of all that. What we're here to talk about is organizing leads for better follow-up. And so I'm really grateful for all of you guys being here. What I'd love to start to do is do a quick introduction. And as we talk a little bit about, as we go to different events, we always have a chance to kind of introduce ourselves and talk a little bit about ourselves and our business. So if you just want to do a quick, 15, 20-second elevator pitch on your name, your company, what you do. And then also, just because this is really focused in on CRM and better follow-up, share a little bit of the CRM that you're using. Then we're going to go into a little bit more of the discussion on some habits. Last month, there were a few members that wanted to learn more about organizing leads and some habits to more effectively do that. So we're going to take about 5 to 10 minutes or so to go over a little bit of a lesson there. And then I want to be open to any questions, feedback, whatever it is that would be most effective and supportive for you as it relates to organizing leads. And then we'll wrap up with a quick takeaway, and then that'll kind of lead us up right till 9:30. So how's that sound for everyone?
Sounds excellent.
Awesome. Okay, cool. All right. So David, since you and I were just chatting here, you want to start us off with a quick elevator pitch on your name and who you're with and what your company's all about?
Yeah, my name is David Anderson, and I make promotional products people actually want. And the secret to that is less about having some sort of special selection of items, but more about really talking to our customers about what are they trying to accomplish. Are you trying to get brand awareness, brand affinity, brand loyalty? Like what change in the mindset are you trying to achieve in the people who receive these items so that you actually get an ROI on promo? So that's kind of what our business is all about. I'm in Central Oregon, but most of my team is in Santa Monica. And as I grow the business, we're going to be growing a little more into having a remote team anyway. So I'm kind of the first one to start being remote. Just started doing HubSpot actually about 6 months ago now. We went live. Super glad. The only regret I have is we didn't do it 3 years ago, 5 years ago, something like that, because having a CRM has really been a lot more beneficial even than I had guessed. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you for being here. All right, and Anthony, I know you and I just met earlier this week, so thanks for being here and share a little bit about what you're up to. Your new,
appreciate it,
new
Mark.
adventure.
Yeah, no, we have brand new adventure. Thanks, Mark, for inviting me. We had a great conversation. Hello, David and Jordan. So Anthony Caleo, I have left corporate America end of June to go full-time into what I would have called my side hustle, but truthfully, it was just a hobby because I had a full-time role. And it's the consultancy's Caleo EX. It's all about employee experience, creating positive work cultures, and then, how to operationalize missions, visions, values. So they're just, values aren't just words on a poster or on a conference room wall, but they're actually, lived and what I call operationalized. So that's that's my business. That's what I've done internally for companies my entire life. And now, and with doing some small consulting projects on the side. So that's now my full-time hustle. And I'm just only starting to get my CRM game together perfectly honest. I mean, I just really started recently of just, Mark, as you know, because we've talked about it, I'm doing a lot of networking, and I'm suddenly realizing like, man, I don't remember what I spoke to so-and-so about, right? And what was supposed to be the follow-up. So it's all CRM light, and I'm starting out with a real simple Google sheet that I created for myself that has, contact, what we talked about, what's the follow-up, priority. So again, I'm at the CRM light stage.
Okay, awesome. Well, you're going to have something, everyone actually that's here, and welcome, Carl and Jordan. We're going to hop to you, and then we're going to do another quick intro here, Carl. So everyone that's here will have an opportunity to receive that spreadsheet essentially, and kind of the next steps after we talk about all of these things. We're going to share with you some different ideas and strategies regarding that. So everyone that's on here, we'll get a chance to view that. So Anthony, that could probably really help you. So all right, awesome. Let's shift over to you, Jordan. Thank you for being here, and yeah, excited to chat.
Yeah, my name is Jordan Smith. The founder, CEO of VLock Systems. We do manage cybersecurity and IT services for businesses. So we're based here in Central Oregon. We have a team staff of about 20 people, and we specialize in like managing the kind of cybersecurity perimeter for businesses of varying sizes, from like 20 people to 200 people, kind of in there. It's kind of the commonplace business size in Central Oregon. And then we also do like IT strategy and project professional services and service desk, so help desk when folks need help. So kind of a full service outside IT department for our clients. We've got a CRM it's actually it does okay. It's getting better, but it's kind of a bolt onto our lead generation software, and I've been utilizing that pretty faithfully for like the last 5 months or so. So that's kind of where we're at.
Yeah, awesome. And that reminds me of something I heard years ago at a conference. I think it was a Keap conference, and Keap is another CRM. And one thing that was stated at that conference is the best CRM is the one that you use. So the fact that you've been using it consistently now for the last 5 months, and David, for you for 6 months, and Carl, I know you're going to have a chance to share a little bit more about what you've been doing as well. So all of that being said, that's really cool. Thanks for being here. All right, let's hop over to you, Carl, and then we'll hop into the lesson here today, and then we'll go from there.
Sorry, so I missed the prompt, but I assume it's like introduce myself and talk about what I'm doing.
Yeah, like real quick, 15, 20 seconds or so about your company, what you do, and then what CRM you're using.
Got you. So I am the founder of Epic Made. We are a digital art and animation company. We do visual storytelling for gaming, entertainment, and tech. Most of what we do is either advertising or some sort of just straight up entertainment. Let's see, CRM wise, I'm using Monday.com pretty lightly still. I'm looking at revamping all that. I just had I actually started closing a bunch of deals where I was chasing like so many things for so long that now I'm like just kind of swamped with that part of of things, which is great.
Hey, good.
Yeah.
Love hearing that.
Holy shit, it's been a year. But yeah, so we're coming out the other side. It's looking a little rocket shippy, which is nice after the past 7 months. So anyhow.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for being here. Appreciate it. So everyone that signed up should have received this as we were preparing. So this is a naming convention sheet, and this is really going to tie into what we're going to be discussing today, which is really about organizing leads for better follow-up. And one of the things that I would say is, as you look at this can, while it's simple, there's still a lot of things that are happening. And so as, Anthony, you're getting started, or Jordan, as you've been applying things over the last 5 months, or David, and for the last 6 months, and then Carl, for you, kind of adjusting and kind of seeing what the next CRM may be and what that's going to look like. Pick one of these areas, and we could start to look at that. And because it's one of those things that, again, CRMs that are used are the ones that actually are the best. So I always like to start off by saying that I really don't have any particular, I'm CRM agnostic, because in general, very general terms, all CRMs do the same thing, right? And again, I know it's a very, very general statement. At the same time, what it is it's customer relationship management. And what we're really talking about is, what I really love talking about is the relationship side of that. And that's what a lot of people tend to look at CRMs as automation tools to really be able to, automate a lot of things, which it can, when you have established the right steps of what relationship is. And so, if we're talking about organizing leads for better follow-up, we need to understand, who do we need to follow up with? Why do we need to follow up with? And what exactly are we following up with them about? And so the reason I put together this worksheet was for us to start to be able to see, what of these areas may we need to focus on. So, you may want to look at these and say, I got that dialed. I'm really clear on who my persona is. And so the 5 areas, for those that may not have this in front of you, is source. Then we've got persona, we got life cycle stage, lead status, and filters. And again, there's a lot more that can be done, but these are some of the main ones that can really do. And as you graduate further along, like, this is essentially, the further and further you can get, is the more clear and clear that you'll know how to more better follow up. So, starting out with source, it's just really kind of getting that idea of, every time you meet someone, Anthony, you were just talking about, you're meeting all these people, having that idea, are they coming from lunch club? Are they coming from here? Are they coming from there? Just beginning to start with that, so that you can recall, oh, that's right, it was a conversation, or it was an in-person meeting. Jordan and I were just at a meeting last week that we had a chance to meet up. Well, we met each other a number of months ago, but there was an event that we were at together. And so, again, it's just taking the time to put that little note down. And like I said, one factor of that is to focus on the one thing, just doing that one thing consistently. And if you just did nothing else other than that, and add a column for source, there's your one step. Right? And there's one way for you to be better at following up, because you'll know when you're following up with them, you could say, hey, remember, or we met at such and such event, or we met such and such group. So it starts to at least just give you more context. And again, you could continue to build from that, but that's really the idea of where we could start. The next thing is really about personas, and getting clear on who your persona is. This could also be known as an avatar, or an ICP, ideal client profile. There's a lot of different ways that it's being discussed. And the deeper and the more understanding you have of who this persona is, the better you can follow up with that particular person. So one of the examples, and I'm expanding beyond this, but and this is one thing that I would always say, is you can have a persona and in a specific industry. And I talked a lot about this last month, which was, an industry, and then really kind of looking at what exactly does that, what role, what title does that person have? And then what kind of, what are some of the challenges that they're facing, or the goals that they have, or the characteristics of who that particular person is. And as we look at the persona, my persona, one of the personas that I have, his name is Michael Marketer, or Michelle Marketer, however you want to say it. And what it is that I've done over the last number of years is got clear on, what is Michael Marketer challenged with? What are his characteristics, and what are his goals, his or her goals? And as we look at that, that gives me context for what it is that I can follow up with Michael or Michelle Marketer about. And the more clear I am on who Michael or Michelle Marketer is, the better I can actually follow up with them. And so as you start to think about these seem like seemingly, granular exercises, but how else are you going to organize your leads to more better follow up than if you know that there's a Michael Marketer that is in the building stage versus in the scaling phase? Scaling Michael has different needs than building Michael. And I use that as an example just for you to kind of start to put context into some of the personas that you may have, because the more clear you are on them, the more effective that you can really be in the follow-up. It's going to sound different than, hey, do you have an interest now? Like Carl, he said he's been closing a lot of deals now. Well, there's been a lot of other things that have happened prior to that, and there's been some follow-ups, and there's been steps that have been along the way. And the more clear we are on who we're following up with and why we're following up, the better. So I'm going to kind of advance these two and just almost skip right down to filters after we do this. But life cycle stage, that's really understanding where they are in the sales funnel. So the more clear you have as an idea, have you just met them? Are they a lead? Have you not even talked to them? Or are they a sales qualified lead where you've said, hey, they have the right criteria. This is a micro marketer. They have this type of revenue. They have this many types of employees. Like Jordan, you were just talking about, you have some clients that are 20, you have some that are 200. Okay, so let's take a look at one of those personas that's in that, life cycle stage that's the 20. Okay, so are they a sales qualified lead, or is it a company that has 10 people and they might not be qualified, essentially. So this gives you a chance to say, that's no longer a sales qualified lead. That's no longer a lead. That's actually someone that's not an opportunity at all. So you could take them out and you don't even have to put them into your CRM, because dirty data in, dirty data out, clean data in, clean data out. So I like to kind of talk about that. Lead status is a little bit more of an advanced version of lifecycle stage, where you can kind of get more stages and clarifications around that. So I'm going to skip over that, but then I'm going to go down to filters. And the filters being, hey, I have an hour of time that I want to devote to following up with with opportunities. So have I followed up to set appointments with those sales qualified leads? So I've now identified these sales qualified leads as they fit the criteria. How do I follow up with them? Right? And what do I need to follow up with them on? And you could just simply, because you've organized them as sales qualified, and you can actually take that hour of sales time and just focus on your sales qualified leads to get them to that next stage, which would be a meeting, or whatever that essentially next step would be for you to them. So there's a lot of steps inside of this naming sheet, but I just wanted to kind of help work through this organizing leads for better follow-up, utilizing some of these pages on the worksheet. So that being said, I wanted to kind of give about a 5 to 10 minute overview on like organizing leads for better follow-up. So what questions do you have based off of just what I've shared that would be supportive? Because a goal that I have for every single one of you here today is, it's one of the reasons I sent out the spreadsheet, is for you to be able to have practical application right as soon as we leave. So, I could start those calls that I'm going to make, I'm going to start tagging them as sales qualified leads when I realize that they fit the specific criteria. So that being said, thanks for letting me kind of do a little bit of a fire hose overview. What questions are maybe coming up as you're hearing some of these statements inside of it?
Well, Mark, if you don't mind, I actually have an example, if you don't mind, like just to clarify, like how we're doing some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So one of the sources we get referrals from is Yelp. And so when people use the Yelp quoting tool, our CRM flags that as the source was Yelp. And if that's the case, there's a workflow in our CRM. It says 3 days after the order was picked up, contact that person, check in, make sure everything was good. And if they're happy, ask them for the Yelp review. Because if they came from Yelp, they're very likely someone who does Yelp reviews, and that's a good source for getting that closed. But that's also that task that pops up automatically for the sales rep that says, hey, contact this person to follow up for a Yelp review, is itself a little bit qualified based on the contact's persona, because we have different personas, and some of them are very happy to sort of chat and be part of a community with us and do things like reviews, and others are very like brass tacks, don't talk to me about anything but the order. And so we would behave differently if they were this persona versus that persona. So that's just kind of example of how a couple of these can actually work together with some automation that's also got some sort of judgment call on the person using it.
Yeah, I love that. And really that clarification of going from understanding that a Yelp reviewer is going to actually want to give more reviews, and then setting up that as a task, right? And initially, like now that's a workflow, but you could have started with just simply like a note in a spreadsheet that said, hey, if it's a Yelp review, let's make sure we follow up with them about getting a Yelp review. So that could be as simple as what you can do, or is a little bit more sophisticated or complex, or whatever, however you want to say it, is a workflow. So great comment, and I love that you're using it to that degree. That's fantastic. What other questions are coming up?
No real question mark, but I guess, and this is probably just being Captain Obvious, but what I get caught up in is realizing that there's so much I'm not doing that I worry about trying to do everything, as opposed to kind of what you said, like just start someplace, right? Because again, in the CRM journey, I'm in infant stages of just, tracking networking conversations, which will hopefully lead to, generate leads, right? So just tracking all of that and starting someplace, but then also being somewhat deliberate about how I architect how I'm tracking it, because what I've found happen, like doing things in the past, either through knowledge management and stuff, if you don't fully think through most of what you want to track, you might wind up going down sort of this, track of not getting everything you need, right? I don't know if I'm probably not articulating that clearly enough, but it's just like, try not, simultaneously trying not to boil the ocean because I'm starting slow, but also not being so narrowly minded that I'm not going to be in a position to capture what I need to capture down the line.
Yeah. No, I totally hear that. And thank you. And yeah, I hear that so often, right? There's so many things that we can do and so many things we may or may not be doing, but also like we've got to have some grace on ourselves to know that we are doing what we can, do the best with what you can when you have it, and I know there's a quote around that. So to your point, like you heard it very clear, start with a thing. And we are starting, and it's one of the reasons why I like to follow up those that sign up for the call with this spreadsheet, because a spreadsheet, you're able to do things that can accordion and adjust with you. So you don't have to have the architecture. Like David didn't start out with the workflow that happens whenever someone hops into Yelp and then they go do this and this happens and then this gets tagged and so on and so forth. It started out with, okay, what do we need? We need, let's start out with the source. He started out with the source of Yelp. So start out with that one thing and then begin to, and by all means, like I said, I'm sending out this spreadsheet for you to be able to start to use it. And if there's more than likely the columns that you're going to really need are going to be included on that. Now, there's going to be other things that you're going to find. Good. Add them later as you start working. And so when you find yourself 3 months from now, realizing, oh, I didn't track this and this would be really helpful, add that as a column. And then you can build that into your HubSpot or CRM or, whatever that, active campaign is later on. So, don't be afraid to start small and knowing that you can accordion beyond where you are right now. Great comment, great thought. Got another minute or two.
I kind of speak to Anthony's question too. Like I see this as an iterative process, right? We started with, what do we want? We want to retain our customers more effectively. So we focus more on internal than external. And so we need to gather all this data. So our first dashboards for reports for our CRM were just sort of a guess, like maybe this, maybe this, maybe this. And then, a couple of weeks in, we said, actually, this report doesn't even make sense because we have a bunch of these contacts that don't have this particular attribute filled in, like company type isn't even there. So, if we're trying to look at, how many sales do we have by company type, and 3/4 of the companies don't even have a type, we have some work to do. We got to fill in that data. That was one direction we had to sort of like start learning. And the other was to go, each week we have a meeting, we say, what do we wish we knew based on our goals? Hey, if I'm trying to retain customers, I want to know what percentage of my customers from last year am I retaining this year? Well, let me get a report for that. Okay, can I do it, or am I missing data? And then acting on that, and sort of just kind of, it's because we tried to do as much as we could before going live of trying to imagine all the scenarios we could possibly want, and the reality was half the things we thought we want aren't actually helpful to us, and half the things we need we just didn't imagine, because being in the system gave us, it's a little bit of learning how to drive the car while you're driving the car. But like you're saying too, you also don't want to jump behind the driver's seat and get on the highway before you know something. So I just think and the thing we're trying to be really disciplined about now is going, okay, let's narrow our focus. Like until we get the one box honed, this one like reporting and analysis box honed, we're going to focus on it for a while, and then we'll move to the next one and so on. Because like you said, you can get just overwhelmed with the amount of data you could be collecting, and what am I supposed to do with this data anyway? I don't know if that helps, but to me, just like realizing that it's going to have to be a little bit of a cyclical, iterative process is what keeps me sane.
Yeah, and I love that you just shared that too, because again, what we're really talking about are the habits that you're doing, and the habit is they're consistently using it. Jordan was talking about at the beginning, he's been consistently using his CRM for the last 5 months, and that's it. The more you're in it, the more you're going to be able to start to see, oh, I would really like to be able to do this, you know. And it's one of those. I was met up with a client yesterday, and we got her set up on HubSpot last year, and she said, you know, our team's been working really well. And the long and the short of it is, as I was explaining it, I said, when you buy a house, right, you've got to maintain it. When you buy a car, you've got to put oil in it. You know, you got to put gas in it. You got to change and rotate the tires. The CRM is the same exact thing. You get this, and it's not like you ever arrive and you never have to make any other touches to it. You're constantly maintaining it. So getting in that habit of just, even, you know, at the beginning part of the week, like, hey, which of these areas do I maybe need to look at a little bit more, and can I clean that box up to what David was just talking about? So I think those are some great comments. We've got like maybe another minute or so or two, or we've got 4 minutes until the end, but just, you know, I want to just make sure if there's any other questions, we could do a quick dive there. Any other thoughts or thoughts that are coming up?
No, I've let my process get away from me, because then like I went into the whole thing with you and like redid how we're gonna do it.
Yep.
Then Eric I've lost Eric, right? So Eric was helping me facilitate all that. So now I just have like this list of like, I need to go back into here and just clean all the old data out, put it in. So it's just been like something I just keep putting off because it just feels overwhelming. So, but now like good data in, good data out kind of stuff. Right now, it's just kind of like there's a name in there, and all the other data with it might be relevant or not. But like it at least jogs my mind of like, oh, I got to call Fred. I haven't talked to Fred in a while, you know. So I mean that's how I'm using it right now. But I guess any level of use is better than nothing, right? So.
Well, yes, and also again, we got to have grace to ourselves too, because when business starts to pick up and you're busy closing deals, right? Yes, we want to make sure that we have our foot on the gas always. At the same time, we have to realize too that right now in this season, this is where you're at, and you know, with some of this new growth comes other investments that could come back in and be fueled into say, okay, let's go back and let's take a look at this one particular area. And the biggest thing though is making sure that, you know, you are following up on those opportunities that are close to close, you know. And if that's the amount of time, because I know we went really granular, right? If that's the amount of time that you need to invest right now, just invest in there. Then you could always come back and start to build up those other things, but like just making sure that you're maintaining that which you need to. So great. So in the remaining 2 minutes, what I'd love to just hear is 1 or 2 quick takeaways, and then I'd just love to kind of share another quick thought before we wrap up. And I just appreciate everyone's contribution and attendance here today. So any takeaways from what has been discussed today?
Yeah, mine's an easy one. Just start. So
okay. Great. Cool.
Yeah, I need to refine the data that I'm attaching to contacts and the number of contacts I have to make it something that's more manageable.
Cool. Yeah. A big thing, exporting it, cleaning it up in a spreadsheet, which you're going to be getting here soon, will be massively helpful. Like I just worked with a client and we cut out hundreds of leads because it's like, we don't need them. Like we don't know where they are. Like, let's just get really clear on where we need to go. So thank you for that. One thing that I would just like to share and just kind of add is, like I said, I want for everyone here I appreciate your attendance. I appreciate I want to be mindful of the time, right? 30 minutes. You've invested time here. So my whole goal behind this was to give you an opportunity to say, okay, what did I learn, and then what can I instantly apply? So that's really the idea behind, you know, the conversations, and I love the back and forth and the dialogue in between. Take a look at the spreadsheet, and then third, if there's anything that you would like to dig in a little deeper, I'm happy to do a 30-minute follow-up where we could do a little mind mapping and clarify some of these steps. That's part of something that I love doing as a result of, hey, if there's a way that we could work together, we'd love to be able to do that. So I just want to extend that as well for the continuation. If you need some more clarification, I'm happy to do that. So thank you all for being here. Appreciate it. And I think with that, we're 9:30. It's time.
Take care, everyone. Be well.
Yeah.
All right. All the best.
Thanks,
Thanks
Mark.
everyone. You got it. I'm going to stop recording here.